can you do anything?
Can you do anything? I think you can, but you should also do it with caution too, because you only heal once. You have to do it right.
Welcome to the Paco's Place podcast.
And the podcast will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, finally live at Paco's Place, Jaye Macalalad.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, let's get straight to the point because people want to know what it's like, especially those people with scoliosis or people with family members who have scoliosis. You opted to have surgery.
I did, yeah.
Why?
When I saw my neurosurgeon back in 2022, the curvature of my curve was increased. It was about 10%.
From what? Wait, when you say 10%, what does that mean?
10 degrees more. So usually I was at about 47 degrees.
This is your spine, right?
Yeah, my spine. So it's called thoracolumbar scoliosis. So with that 10% degree in, I don't know, like I was at 35 to 37 degrees when they first checked, like maybe 10 years ago. And then it went up to 47 to 50.
Without you doing anything?
I was pretty active. I think the only different thing that I did was I was lifting more.
Well, like lifting weights or laundry?
Everything. Heavy weights. But they don't think that was the main reason. It's just when you're getting older, especially if like when you're a teenager and you've reached like above 37 to 40 degrees of your curve, the chances of that getting worse as an adult is more.
Why?
Well, menopause. I'm not menopause yet, but like you talk about premenopausal and then menopause.
So osteoporosis,
yeah. And there's a study. Scoliosis is idiopathic, meaning there's like really no known cause for it. It could be hereditary too, but then there was a study that was done that linked to vitamin D, low levels of vitamin D. So there's more studies about that one. And what's funny is I had critical levels of low vitamin D when they first checked it. So I was.
Does that mean you're not going out a lot or?
Not around the sun.
No
vitamin D in the sun.
Okay. Kumbaga mas lumalabas naman ako pero sa gabi walang vitamin D ang moon.
Which is really funny because it was critical. So I just basically got treated for that like when I was older, like in my 30s. But how long ago have I had that low because it's not a random blood test that you can just get. It's just if you request it from your doctor. I mean, your wife had it too. Like sis, like she had vitamin D. So I don't know if like they're saying that it's all linked to that, but I don't know.
Okay. So you're very passionate about awareness on scoliosis, right? Titanium Mama. Your campaign can use a lot of boost and support from other people. Now, why the passion for this whole thing?
Well, when I first had surgery, I would say before I had surgery, I was like on Facebook, like, the pages, like support pages. So everybody was talking about like, oh, I'll have surgery here. This is the date. What are the things that you need? Everything. So you get to interact with people around the world, which is great because I was actually able to reach out to one that was in Australia. But the one that really helped me, her name was Sarah. She had almost the same curvature as me and also the same level. And she was the one who told me like, oh, make sure you buy this, make sure you buy that, make sure you have a grabber, those things. And I feel like those people that helped me before surgery, like I know that I can do the same thing for others. So that was the main reason why I wanted to do like Titanium Mama, just to raise awareness, because I know you can make a difference. You can touch someone's lives. And I believe that I've already done that because after surgery, I've been responding to like all the other people that was in this same position as me before. And now they're like, okay, I'm going to undergo this. So I'm responding to them and they're messaging me personally and stuff like that. So it makes a big difference because, you basically, you basically become their anchor. Like it makes you, how do I say this? Like
It
it touches
encourages.
me.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
touches
Oh,
me too.
okay. It validates you as
Yeah,
well.
it
Yeah.
validates me as well.
So the surgery. So when did you find out you had scoliosis?
Probably about 12 or 13, but
Okay, wait. Let me stop you there.
Yeah.
12 or 13. So who told you you had scoliosis?
my mom,
What? Like, Jay, you have scoliosis.
she's like, I think you have scoliosis.
And what do you say?
And I was like, okay, let's go to the doctor.
And then,
And it was diagnosed.
did it open your reticular? Oh my God, I have scoliosis. Now I feel this pain. Like prior to not knowing you had scoliosis, did you notice anything?
The thing with scoliosis is I did not have pain at all. And me being active played a big role with me not having pain, because you meet a lot of people that has scoliosis and they have really bad pain.
Mm-hmm.
But me growing up, I didn't have it. I did have a hump on my right side.
When you say hump, what does that mean?
It's because my curve is it's curving on the right,
Yes.
so it's uneven. So your ribs and all that, it sticks out with the right hump. But it didn't bother me as much. I've always had long hair, so it would always cover.
Okay.
It would always cover it. And then, but what my neurosurgeon or what the ortho back then said was, she's probably had this for a long time. The thing was, it was discovered more late. So I've probably had it when I was like 9 or 10, and it wasn't as obvious until it was progressing with the degree.
So did it scare you?
I think what scared me more is wearing the brace.
Did you have to wear the brace?
I did have to wear the brace. And I was in that point where, you're a teenager. You don't want people to be like,
Yes.
like, ew, what's that? Like, what's that metal thing? And then you have people like knocking on your like rib area and stuff like that. It was uncomfortable, but it was like, I kind of was like, I didn't want to wear it, because you have to wear that for like 18 to 23 hours a day.
So even when you're sleeping.
When you're sleeping, yeah.
So the only time
Yeah.
you take it off is when you take a shower and
Shower and stuff. Yeah.
wow. How did
But
that affect your
I
confidence?
The thing is, I wasn't consistent.
Okay.
Because every time I was consistent, the degree of the curve, it wouldn't change a lot.
So it wasn't worth it.
It wasn't worth it. And I'll speak to that, because the reason for that is because when a person has their menstruation, what they say was, you only have like 2 more years to grow mostly. That's what study says. But then with me, I had it really early. So when they discovered it when I was 13, there was a big chance that I probably stopped growing. So when you say, so when I was already stuck at about 37 degrees at that time, or 35 degrees, it wasn't dropping like as far as the degree, but it wasn't getting worse either.
Right.
It maintained.
It stayed at 37.
It stayed that way. Yeah. But even though I was wearing it for 16, 18, 23 hours, whenever I go back to the doctor, there wasn't any change. So that's why they said it's probably like too late.
Plus, it's affecting your confidence level also.
It was like, those are the time like boys
Yeah.
and you go out with your friends at the mall and stuff like that. And I didn't want to feel like I'm the one that's so different and just an outcast.
So when you decided not to wear the brace, what was the reason for your decision? And how old were you?
I was still actually wearing it. I was 16, 17. I was dating Nino and he saw me wear the brace. And
Nino,
I was
your
like,
husband. Yeah.
And I've been with him since I was 17. So when I showed him like, oh yeah, this is my brace. I was like, okay, well, let's see if you'll stay with me, because like, yeah, I have like a curved spine. But it was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did at 17 or when you were dating, did you ever think of surgery?
No, I just thought about, being active and all that.
So
Like-
when did you learn about surgery?
I learned it when I spoke to my neurosurgeon.
How
back
old were you?
I was probably like 35, 36.
Okay, so years have gone by na, no?
Years have gone by. And I usually get like x-rays every year. And it was like 37, 38, 42, 40, 45.
Degrees.
Yeah. And then
What-
the recent one was
okay, wait.
47.
Seeing your spine, did it depress you?
No, not really. Because I mean, I've had it all my life. And I was blessed enough not to have pain. Well, it's really like I get debilitated or anything like that, my migraine gives me more pain than my back.
E malay mo,
That's
the migraine comes from the back. Kasi magkakonekta yan, di ba? It's connected. Your spine and your skull. Could be.
Could be, but
Are you still having migraine?
yes.
Ah.
Thank you for the lighting. I don't have it now because he was asking me about like let's do a podcast, and I was like, yeah, but your lighting is so bad.
It's
I'm gonna
nice,
get a
diba?
migraine.
No migraines here.
No, not yet.
Okay, so you saw that. You saw the opportunity to do surgery. What was the goal? You know when they say if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So we know there's damage. We know it's what it is. But why straighten it pa?
Because it will eventually get worse
Eventually.
as I get older. And my doctor, I waited out. I like sat down and wrote pros and cons about surgery or not. And one of the major thing was when the doctor told me, you're young, you're active, and you're healthy. You don't have any comorbidities. You don't have anything. Your surgery, I guarantee you right now, your recovery will be very quick.
And it was, no?
And he guaranteed that. He was a great surgeon. He was a great surgeon. And I've seen him previous times before I decided to choose him. So I was like, okay, this is it. You're the one. And and then he told me, but when you think about it, when you're in your 60s and 70s and you have this surgery, your curve is progressing. It already progressed almost 50 degrees.
Ow.
If in 10 years your degree is like it progressed to 10 degrees, what more in 10 for another 10, 15, 20 years when menopause hits? Because your bones get,
right.
you're more prone to osteoporosis and all that when your bones get brittle when you're on menopause. So that's the major thing, because eventually one day I will need it. But the fact that I'm young, active, and healthy, and the recovery is way easier, I think it would be now. It would be better now.
So let's talk about the surgery. Finally, you were gonna do it, right? You've weighed the pros and cons. So the day came. What was going through your head?
What was going through my head? I was honestly preparing for the worst. For the worst. I had everything saved on a like Microsoft Word, like all my passwords to like my life insurance and stuff like that. Everything was prepped. Everything was ready.
Was there a risk?
There's always a risk.
Okay, what was the risk?
The worst risk is death.
Okay, what's before death? Paralysis?
Paralysis. Yeah. You get paralyzed. Yeah. But I have so much faith. I prayed every day. I did the novena every day.
Okay.
And I feel like my faith brought me to this too. So.
Okay. So was it general anesthesia? You were asleep the whole time?
I was asleep the whole time.
When you woke up, how was it?
When I woke up, the first thing I did was try to move my feet. So if you move your feet, I'm like, okay, I'm not paralyzed.
So that was, scratch, di ba?
Yeah.
And then what? When did the pain start to set in?
The pain, I wouldn't say it was pain. It was a lot of pressure, though, but it wasn't pain. I hated the side effect of the general anesthesia. I was having so much nausea, vomiting, and all that. I think that was the worst, rather than the pain in the back itself.
So the titanium mama, reason why that's what you're called is because they place titanium.
Yes, it's about 25 screws and 2 rods. It's
Explain that.
titanium.
What does that mean?
So they fused me from T3 to L2.
Where is T3?
T3, it's about here, this
Okay.
side. And then L2. So the reason why he only did L2,
L2
is
is
so
toward the tailbone.
more lumbar, yeah.
Okay.
But it's the first 2 levels.
So how
I
long
can
would
still bend.
T3 to L2 be, like this or like that? Like how long would it be?
Probably like
Oh
this
my
much,
God.
Yeah. So that's how big my
So
scar
this,
was.
so it's long, right?
Yeah.
So where are the rods?
So I would say like, so your spine and then one on each side of your spine.
So these rods, do they bend?
They're not supposed to.
So if you are a contortionist by profession, you can't do it
I
anymore.
don't think you can. I don't think you can do anything aggressive after surgery.
So that's
That's
the
the
drawback.
That's the drawback, but you feel normal. It's just you can't do stuff. I mean, there's some people that still do it. Like I've seen on my Facebook support groups, people
Parang
were still
sumasakit yung likod ko eh, no?
skydiving.
Para ako nagagagano.
They
Okay.
still skydive. They do everything.
Yeah, but because your back's straight. But you do some stretches like some bends.
You can because it depends on what level you're fused in.
So what with regard
So
to
I can
your
still bend.
fusion ba tawag
Yeah,
dyan?
you can still bend.
Okay, spinal fusion is what it's called.
Spinal fusion, yeah.
Okay. So those rods, oh my God, they don't sway, and then there are columns. Oh no, there are
Yeah.
rows
For
connected
the
to each.
screws.
And what happened now to your spine? Is it straight?
They had a 90 to 95% correction.
From 37 or from 40
No,
something?
Yeah, for say so let's say like when he says 90 to 95% correction, it's basically a grade. Like
Okay.
100% we fix it like
100%
super
fixed,
straight.
yeah.
Super straight. The reason why he said 90 to 95% is because I have a compensatory curve on my lower levels of my unfused spine.
Which means
L3,
straight,
L4,
and then
L5.
after the fusion,
There's a little
it'll
bit
still
curve.
curve.
Yes, and the reason for that it's compensatory because it will straighten out on its own.
Okay, no need
So-
for fusion.
No need, hopefully not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a while ago hereditary. Who has it in your family, your mom or your dad?
My mom has it. My dad, a few of my cousins have it from my dad's side. One of them actually had surgery,
Okay.
and my cousins from my mom's side has it, and my kids have it.
Your kids have it.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah. The only good thing was we discovered it really early, so it's getting treated earlier.
When you say treated, what does that mean? Are there pills for that?
No, there's no pills, but it's bracing.
Bracing.
Yeah, it's bracing, and it's a good amount of time because when we found out my kids were my son was about 14 degrees. So they don't normally brace if you're about less than 25 degrees. So when he notices a progression, he was at 24, 25 degrees. He's like, let's just brace it. He's only 13. He's almost 5'6". It only stops when you stop growing.
Okay. The progression stops when you stop growing. And then it'll start again when you age. Tama ba?
Only when you have a higher degree of a curve.
So
When you being younger.
so yung kanya, it's tolerable. Is that what I'm getting from you? If it
For-
stays at 13%,
Yeah, so right now
13
he's at
degrees pala.
24 degrees right now.
Oh, that's
why
bad.
he's getting a brace.
yeah.
So if the brace, keeps it down to like maybe 20 or below,
That's a threshold.
that the chances of that progressing is so low when you're an adult, according to studies. But then when you're a kid and then you're stuck at like 37 to 45
Which
degrees,
is what you were.
which was me, and you try the treatments and it hasn't changed or it just progressed to the worse, the chances of that getting worse as you age is higher because the degree matters. It all depends
Yeah.
on how many degrees you are.
I hope people are getting that, no? That the degree matters because knowing what your range is can save your life or prolong your life
Yeah.
also, di ba?
Yeah.
How about your daughter?
My daughter has it too, but she stopped growing, so they're not as concerned. They actually repeated an X-ray on her recently. Her last X-ray was just this month, and her previous one was January of last year.
Same.
And it was 3 degrees less
Uy.
as far as the reading. So
Nag-improve.
it improved. So what she was doing was she was doing a lot of physical therapy exercises. It's called Schroth. So she's doing a lot of the necessary stretches based on her curves and stuff like that. So you have to straighten your back and your core, which I think that's what she's been doing. So I think it got better. So they're not as concerned. They're more concerned about Elijah. He has a lower degree of a curve, but because he has so much room to grow,
Yeah.
that they're managing it now.
Okay. What was the conversation among family? Like, I know when your mom your mom told you about yours, it was like, you have scoliosis. And that was it.
Yeah.
What was your conversation with your kids? And what did your husband say about this when all of you found out that the kids have scoliosis as well?
My husband's reaction was like, "Oh my god!" It's like bad genes, but no, he's just really supportive.
But the kids,
The
how did
kids-
you tell them?
I think because they've seen me, they've seen how my scar was, they've seen how my recovery was. I think they're more determined to like be compliant with like bracing and treatments, because they don't want to have surgery. So because the chances of them fixing it now at a younger age, it's much more easier to do than not do anything.
Right.
So yeah.
Is it ano ba? Is it important for you to face it head on and not put it in the back burner? Like, what are the consequences if I know I have scoliosis and I don't do anything about it? I know a while ago we talked about it could progress, no?
It can progress. It may
But-
not progress. It just all depends on your lifestyle too, right? If you're not moving around and you're just on the couch, like you're a couch potato and you're not straightening anything, then I mean, what's gonna happen to your bones?
But then
With
again-
or without scoliosis, it's gonna be like
Yes, but the stress on your spine, right?
yeah.
If
Especially if you hit like 60, 70 degrees, it compresses your organs, like your lungs and all that. So I didn't want to wait that long. If I'm progressing 10 degrees a year, by the time I'm like 50 or 60, I'll probably be like super uneven,
yeah.
and my degrees is worse.
Did your mom do spinal fusion also?
She did not. No, she did not.
What she
She
say?
doesn't she's more like, it is what it is.
Really?
Yeah.
What did she say when you decided to do spinal fusion? Was she for it, against it?
She was more like, well, are you sure? Like, is it really necessary? And I was like, yeah, it's something that I want to do because it's going to get worse anyhow. And she's like, okay. So she's retired. She actually sorry, got to fix this. She actually went back here just for my surgery.
Oh, so she was here.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was here.
So now you're done with the surgery. You have titanium in your body.
Mm-hmm.
How did it feel? Psychologically, physically, mentally, emotionally? Let's start with psychologically.
Psychologically, I guess I was having like mixed emotions because the first few months, I would say the first month was brutal.
Explain.
You cannot sleep properly just because you're so stiff. You know, you're still healing. I was wearing a TLSO brace.
What does that mean for our audience who have no idea?
It's basically a back brace.
Okay.
I was wearing that. He told me that I'd probably have it for 12 weeks, but he only
12 weeks, 3 months.
Yes, but at 7 weeks he said, "No, you're fine."
Wait, you have to sleep
No,
with it?
only when you're up and about.
Okay, so how did it feel going to bed without any brace, knowing
Yeah, you
full well
can't
that you have a
bend
scar?
yet.
Oh,
I can't do any like reaching or bending. I have to bend using my knees. I can't do any of that until about, I would say, 3 months.
so psychologically, how did it? Well, did you have like buyer's remorse?
I was more determined and focused on
Okay.
recovering. There was some medications that I was on that kind of got me depressed. I was on gabapentin. That's for like neuropathy. I didn't like that at all, and I couldn't. I wasn't as active, so I was more like I was staying at home. I was barely doing any physical therapy. It was super lightweight. Like, I gained weight. I gained 20 pounds from surgery, and it was just all from not being active. And after 12 weeks, when they're like, okay, you can start doing something. So
3 months.
it was more 3 months. Yeah. The first 3 months, you really have to push yourself. You have to really push yourself. And I was telling myself, you already did this. You're recovering well. You didn't have any complications. You have to push through.
Okay. Is everybody going to have the same result after spinal fusion?
Not everybody. And that was one of the scary moments when you're on Facebook pages and all these group supports, because there's also failed back fusion.
What does that mean?
When you don't fully fuse well, or you have complications from surgery, when you have spinal leaks as a complication from surgery, and then there's just so many complications out there. And unfortunately, there's a lot of Facebook groups talking about failed fusions, and I kind of stayed away from that group. I was more on the positive side of the Facebook pages. Like I was like, okay, I can't read this because it gets you paranoid.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
all right, am I doing the right thing? Like, should I do this? Should I do that? Yeah, it was like I have to like push through. That's the only thing that was like being repetitive in my mind.
How long has it been since your operation?
I am 9 months.
Do you feel normal?
I feel normal. Yeah. I mean,
Are there
you
days
have,
you,
like,
are there days you
days-
forget? Wait, no. Are there days you forget that? Oh, I did the whole spinal fusion thing. No.
There's days when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fused. Like
So most days most days you don't.
Most
you
days,
think
no.
about it. No.
Yeah, which is great. Like I started a new position at my job, and I was like, oh, I have a fused spine. And then they're like, what? Like, you don't look like it. You know what I mean? You can't really tell that you've had something done until you really tell someone about it.
What do you do?
As far as workout?
No. As far as work, you said you went to work. You told your coworkers. What do you do?
Yeah, I used to be a stroke nurse. I was doing bedside. And then I moved into utilization management. So it's more of a desk work now.
Still in the healthcare industry.
Yes.
Okay.
Still.
Being exposed to the healthcare industry, you've probably encountered different scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Did it affect your outlook with regard to having this done or not having it done?
No.
No.
I was basically living a normal life. You know, I was doing bedside lifting patients, pulling patients with scoliosis. It never really stopped me from being normal.
What's your goal like with regard to this? Would you say it's a calling to encourage others who have scoliosis, or is it more like how do I say it? It's more like it happened to you. You just want to evangelize. What is it? A calling or evangelism? What
I
is
just
it?
feel like it's not something that's there's really not a lot of awareness about it, you know, and it's good. I don't know if you're familiar with Catriona Gray.
Yeah.
She's Miss Universe.
Yes.
She actually has scoliosis.
Is she promoting it?
She had a video about she had a video about it it's on YouTube. You can actually search that up. And she was describing about like her back unevenness and her hip and all that. So that one really, you know, it was June, so June is Scoliosis Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
And being afraid of you know, not like, it's like basically you're facing it and not being afraid that you have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, like, that takes guts.
Pero it's not naman frowned upon that you have scoliosis, right?
No.
People don't frown upon it. But it's nice to actually put it out there so that people are aware
Yeah.
that, you know what, it may sound benign now, but
Right.
an ounce of prevention is still better than a pound of cure.
And they used to do that in schools where they have like kids gets checked. I think they stopped doing that already. Because when I was younger, we had some schools that was doing it and they were doing the whole screening, but I don't think a lot of schools are doing that now.
I see. Okay. Let's talk about future plans with regard to this, no? Because let's get it accounted for.
Mm-hmm.
So you wanna spearhead not a movement but an awareness campaign, right?
Yeah, I try to. It's hard to start. Like, I don't know where to start.
This is a start.
I was like recording myself. I was doing a day-to-day videos after recovery. And then I think I did that for like a good 3 months.
Why
I was
did it
taking
stop?
videos about walking my dog and everything. I think it stopped when I went back to work. You know,
Okay,
just
yeah.
I have different hours now, so it's more of office hours, like 8 to 4:30 type of thing, versus before I was only working twice a week, but it was like 12, 16 hour shifts.
Wow.
So I had that 5 days
Yes.
to do things. Now it's like I feel like 4 days of work and then you're just 3 days of recovering, and I'm a mom, so doing all the housework and juggling with the kids and just life balance, it just makes it harder, but I still want to do it.
So as you said, you're a mom, you're a professional, you're a wife. What's life like in the States, having all of this, and then thinking about doing a procedure, knowing full well that there will be a time your husband may need you, but you won't be there because you're recuperating. What's the conversation like between husband and wife? To people worldwide listening, how you guys can cope as a family with regard to this?
Having a supportive husband and kids plays such a big role in recovery, I would say. If you have someone to lean on that way, as far as even your friends, I mean, you guys were there after my surgery, right? I think you can survive anything as long as you have that support. And my husband was great. He took off work. He took about 3 months off while I was
Oh,
recovering.
he was so happy doing that.
Oh yeah, he loves being off. He loves his off. I know there would be times when it's like, should I go to work or should I bike? I'm like,
Bike,
the answer
mountain
to
bike.
that. It's like, don't ask me. You're gonna choose biking.
Pero di ba, like as a couple, as partners, right? The decision making, this is a life change.
He actually wanted me to go through it, and I think because I was a bit hesitant about maybe I should wait. And then he's like, why are you gonna wait if you're gonna do it now? So I think the fact that he's very supportive of what my neurosurgeon was leading me into, and I think him telling me like, I think you should go for it and we'll be here, I think that also played a big role in my decision about to push through with the surgery.
Any regrets?
I don't have any regrets. I feel great. I feel amazing. Yeah. And I used to have, I wouldn't say pain, like if I have prolonged standing and walking and all that before, I wouldn't say pain, but I have a bit of discomfort in my lower back, but now it's all gone. Yeah, so I can walk without stopping. I can do a lot of things with no back discomfort at all. Jumping, it's still like a bad impact. My surgeon just said to do it slow. I'm not fully fused yet. It takes like a year or two to be fully fused.
When you say fused, the bone will wrap around the titanium, or how does that work? What does that mean?
It'll they say that there's like halos and all that just makes your spine, like there's a growth where it will just like it'll wrap, like you said. A bone will form in between your titanium screws and all that. It'll basically just it's more of support. That's why when I was asking my neurosurgeon, like, do you think I can go back to bedside nursing? And he's like, yeah,
Really?
you can go back. Like, you have more support in your back more than ever. But I was like, oh, it's okay. But he was really pushing through, like, go back bedside. You're good. He was so proud of himself because it's really successful. So he was like, yeah, like you can do anything.
Can you do anything?
Can you do anything? I think you can, but you should also do it with caution too.
Okay.
Because you only heal once. You have to do it right.
Sige. Iyan na natin to. To people on the fence about having this procedure, what's your advice?
You have to be physically, mentally, emotionally ready and you have to have support.
No pun intended, no?
Just because it's going to play a big role. I mean, you're so limited on what you can do the first few months of your surgery that if you're alone and doing it alone, you can do it. It's just difficult, and you don't know what can happen also. So I think you should also have that faith.
With regard naman to people with scoliosis, what can you encourage them to do?
I would encourage them to not disregard it. Do your annual checkups, do your x-rays, do physical therapy, be active. You have to be active. And that's like with or without scoliosis, anybody should be, right?
Would you consider yourself blessed? Is there more in store for you? This whole thing that you're doing with Titanium Mama,
I am very blessed
will you change anything?
about surgery.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad I did it. I
And-
think the only thing that I'm really looking forward to is like create like my own page and just try to raise awareness. Like I want to try to reach out like all over the world and see how I can help too, you know?
Well, we're here to help also. Ladies and gentlemen, Jaye, Macalalad, Titanium Mama. Don't forget to check the link in the description below. Push her to actually put more content out. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.